Hello Internet, and welcome to The Top. About a week ago, we took a look at what I thought were the best Girl Meets World episodes so far, so it's only fair to flip the script around for this week. Just wait a minute, I see you keyboard warriors over there ready to start a flame war. Keep in mind that I believe there hasn't been a particularly bad episode made yet, just episodes that feel a bit less inspired than the episodes that make up my other list. Agree? Disagree? Throw your comments down below. Let's get started. Number 5. Girl Meets the Truth. Again, this isn't a bad episode, just kind of a lazier one. The whole point is Riley lies to Farkle about being good at play, and Maya takes a golden locket from the lost and found. It's a fairly basic tell-the-truth story featuring some of Farkle's worst acting, ironically, and an unbelievably contrived ending. I mean, come on, it's New York City. Do you really expect to find the actual family the locket belonged to unless the screenwriters put them there? This episode had potential, but it forgoes doing something interesting for a more standard happy ending. It's an early season 1 episode, so I guess the writers were still getting their feet wet, but compared to what we've seen, this one leaves a lot on the table. A fitting start at number 5. Number 4. Girl Meets SemiFormal. Depending on your opinion of the guy, this episode is either famous or infamous for the introduction of my least favorite character, Charlie Gardner. He's a wasted character with unknown motives who always comes off as way more stalkerish and clingy than sweet, even when he says things that are supposed to be charming. And Lucas isn't getting out of this episode scotch-free either. We all know he should have never assumed that he was going to the dance with Riley without him actually having to ask her. And it needs to be said that I'm not big on Eric Matthews as Mr. Squirrels. I liked him way better when he was a more believable and lovable goof of an older brother in the original show. All that and throw in the fact that this episode doesn't really go anywhere, and you've got yourself a not terribly great episode filling in at number 4. Number 3. Girl Meets 1961. This might be a point of contention, but I really couldn't get into this one. I'm inherently annoyed when actors in a show play younger versions of their ancestors. Firstly, it usually results in some pretty stale acting. Secondly, it's a genetic impossibility. Thirdly, the odds that their ancestors would actually all know each other in some significant way is astronomical. Yeah, so for me, the episode was doomed from the start. Although I did enjoy Maya's in-class guitar performance at the expense of Lucas, aka Bucky McBoing Boing. Number 3 was just a little late for me. Number 2. Girl Meets World of Horror. Another thing I can't stand is non-canon holiday specials, so I threw them both on here. I get it. The second one was an interesting way to have some characters interact from across shows, but here's the thing. All of these characters live in different states. There's no way they'd ever be interacting, especially on Halloween. It's a cheap and pandering way to ring in the holiday season, which is, ironically, not too far from what the holiday season has become for many a company. So technically throwing both World of Terror episodes on here makes it a top 6, but since about half the effort went into these episodes, I'll just say each episode counts as half. Feel free to berate and belittle me for having no Halloween spirit down below. Number 1. Girl Meets the New Year. A surprise for some, no doubt. In fact, even I was a little surprised thinking over this list and realizing I had to put this at number 1. Again, just like the rest of this list, it isn't a bad episode per se, but it does feel like the most disappointing one. The kids are in school before New Year's for whatever reason, and Farkle has the whole ultimatum with Riley, and eventually he tells Lucas and everyone else that Riley still loves Lucas, etc, etc. Not only does nothing get resolved here for the 15 billionth time since this whole love triangle emerged, but nobody actually learns the lesson of sense and sensibility. The point is that you need both, as Farkle mentions, but Farkle is only using sense without too much thought put into how telling the truth would affect people emotionally. And it isn't just Farkle. Nobody learns anything in this episode. It feels like it should be a 2-parter, but it isn't. It just ends and it feels like nothing happened for 22 minutes. Now, maybe once the plot threads are resolved in Season 3, this episode may prove to be more valuable, but for now, I'm officially claiming it as the worst Girl Meets World episode to date. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, help me out with the likes and the subs and the shares, and watch some of the other awesome videos on my channel. Until then...
Answer which is more valuable to follow?
It depends on the situation.
No, it doesn't.
Just taking a shot!
Very passionate.
Thank you.
And that's where we run into trouble.
You set me up.